We're back. We are back. All right. So we are back to talk about a very crazy case that's happened over the last couple of days. I can honestly say I think the police moved in a pretty efficient time manner in this situation, which is a great thing. Um, but man, it sure makes you wonder about the state of the world when you see police officers disrespecting an army lieutenant, illegally stopping them during a traffic stop, then pepper spraying and while that man is handcuffed. It's so disgusting. He's in his uniform too. This lieutenant has sued the police now. Lieutenant Nazario was stopped in Virginia, and Virginia, there's tons of military in Virginia, right? We know this. Hold on. This was an illegal traffic stop from my understanding. I'm pretty sure it must have been pretty damn illegal for the police to come out and mention this. They've already fired this officer. I can't praise it enough. This is what should be happening in every case where we see something. This is just especially bad. The optics on this one is especially bad because this guy's in uniform. So I'm going to just play this video. Some people aren't even aware of this. This happened in Virginia. Check this out. Joe Gutierrez is the police officer who has now been fired from the Windsor Police Department. But after pulling over this Army lieutenant, it's crazy. It's so disrespectful. And you'll know what I mean when you see this video. The way they treated this lieutenant the whole time was just so disrespectful. It wouldn't have mattered if he was an E1, you know?
Involved in a controversial traffic stop, a Black and Latino Army officer in December has been fired. Body camera footage shows Windsor, Virginia police officers Joe Gutierrez and Daniel Crocker pointing their guns at Army Second Lieutenant Caron Nazario before Gutierrez pepper sprays him. Lieutenant Nazario was released without being charged, and
look at it. I mean, he has his hands up the whole time.
CBS News
this is brutality. What you're seeing. Absolute police brutality.
What's going on?
How many occupants are in your vehicle?
It's only myself. Why are your weapons drawn? What's going on?
The door slowly and step out.
Get out! Get out the car! Get out now!
I have not committed any crime.
In body camera and cell phone video, Army Second Lieutenant Caron Nazario, still in his uniform, holds his hands out the window of his new car, while two Windsor, Virginia police officers, guns drawn, order him to get out.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be. Get out of the car now. Get out of the car.
Get your hands off me, please. Get your hands off me.
You know what?
Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. I didn't do anything. Don't do that.
Nazario repeatedly asks why he's been pulled over before ex-officer Joe Gutierrez pepper sprays him through the open window.
Sir, just get out the car.
I'm trying to breathe. Ugh. My dog is in the back. My dog is choking right now.
Get out of the car.
Nazario is then kicked, forced to the ground, and put in handcuffs.
Why am I being treated like this? Why?
So degrading.
The incident report says Nazario was pulled over for not having tags displayed on his SUV, but the temporary dealer plate is visible in the officer's body cam video. The report also said officers treated it as a high-risk stop because Nazario had tinted windows and drove at a very low speed to a gas station before pulling over, a move Gutierrez later said he understood.
As far as you not stopping and because you weren't comfortable and you wanted a well-lit spot, because that happens all the time.
He did everything that we are told to do for everyone's safety.
Attorney Jonathan Arthur represents Nazario.
When you look in your rearview mirror and you see two firearms trained at you, you got to get
time to start
calm
holding these people
real
accountable.
quick if you want to get out of there alive. You know, it's a credit to his training.
What are you, a specialist, Corbin? What are you? I'm a lieutenant.
According to the lawsuit, the officers also threatened to derail Nazario's military career if he pursued further action against them.
If you want to just chill, let this go, and no charges filed, we'll take the handcuffs off, we'll get you a bottle of water you can drink on, and sit here until you feel comfortable driving.
Now, fuck you, bitch.
Now, after that search
Who
of
the
his
fuck does he
vehicle
think
turned
he
up no
is?
violations, Nazario was released without charge. The governor of Virginia has asked state police to investigate the incident. CBS News reached out to the Windsor Police Department. We did not hear back. Anthony Nazario's attorney said he wanted to file the lawsuit to hold these two officers accountable.
Yeah.
And so these kinds of stops stop happening.
Christina Ruffini. Thanks, Christina. Wow.
And I just have to say,
I can't imagine pulling into a
thank
gas
you,
station and suddenly
Lieutenant.
facing a couple of guys with guns pointed in your window.
But this is the thing, guys. He was calm the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's
He
a
was calm.
lieutenant.
They weren't.
He's in uniform. And when they said he drove at a low rate of speed, that should show he wasn't trying to get away.
No.
And I don't blame him. As a black man in this country,
Right.
getting stopped on a rural highway. He's thinking, let me get to where there's
Get to
light.
where it's lit. Yeah.
And he immediately started cooperating. Just that this is the thing that bothers me. It was such an issue of power and control. They did not treat
Exactly.
that man like a human
No.
being.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
That's
since-
what's so troubling about it.
And since when do you get pulled over for having tinted windows?
Yeah, they could have solved that much differently.
Which-
Driving slow was a problem. We know driving fast is a problem. So what's the
Yes,
solution here?
yeah. They said he got pulled over too, Anthony, because he didn't have a license plate on the back.
But he
It was
did.
there.
But it turns
wasn't-
out it was a temporary one
yeah,
in the
Christina's
window.
report showed it.
Brand new
Yeah, it
car.
was there.
Take a peek.
So we have seen instances, right, of this where people have been getting pulled over illegally in their vehicles. They've been getting accosted illegally by these police officers. I know one thing: the aggression of the likes of what this police officer put on Army Lieutenant Nazario. That just, we thank you, Lieutenant, for going through the trouble of doing the lawsuits, because at the end of the day, it's not like he's going to get a whole crap load of money. He's trying to make a point that these types of stops need to stop happening. Why would they pull that vehicle over? And then lie. Then they turn around and lied on their report. See, that's what gets me. So they'll turn around and lie and submit those reports. So you fired this police officer, but what was the reasonings behind you firing him exactly? Was it because he lied on the report? And it'll make you question any other previous reports he submitted? See, that's the problem in these cases, is when these police officers and these lab personnel and stuff like that get caught doing egregious stuff like this, it puts into question their whole record, everything that they've ever done, every case they've ever brought, all that. So I just wanted to bring this, especially on a day where we are unfortunately enduring another police killing, the murder of Dante Wright in Minnesota, the same place in Minneapolis, same place where right now we have started the third week of testimony in the trial of Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd. The Minnesota National Guard has actually been deployed now due to protests. When I tell you guys, I know that this case is kind of wrapping up to a close. I know that. When I tell you that the level of tension is so high right now in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, that if these officers walk away with some form of acquittal, oh yeah, you better get ready. You better get ready. Especially on the eve of the third week, police kill a 20-year-old black man, Dante Wright. This happened yesterday. Same place, virtually, same geographical location. He was shot and killed. The tension's already high. It does not get more brutal than watching a police officer, a white man, knowingly, just willingly put his knee in somebody's neck and asphyxiate them to death. And while people beg and plead for him to remove his knee, that George Floyd was not showing any threat towards anyone, as people begged for him to remove his knee. 3 minutes after George Floyd took his last breath, his knee was still on George Floyd's neck. It's brutal. This isn't the only death up that way either by police that has people really looking. So all I'm saying is, for those of you that are up from that area, you really need to prepare yourself. Prepare. Because God forbid that these officers get any sort of acquittal. I'm telling you, this is going to be worse than the riots after Rodney King, when those officers got acquitted on state charges. Oh, yeah, they eventually got federal charges, but they don't stay in prison nearby the same amount of time. The charge is completely, doesn't even have the same type of sentence. We watched Derek Chauvin kill a man on camera and left his knee on George Floyd's neck for over 8 minutes. As far as I'm concerned, he's, that is the line that he crossed. So yeah, you guys get ready, be prepared, because these tensions are definitely not dying down at this point. Matter of fact, the shooting of Daunte Wright, the killing of Daunte Wright, happened 10 miles from the location where Derek Chauvin is on trial currently for the murder. I don't even like to say the death, the murder of George Floyd. As of today, 500 members of the Minnesota National Guard have been activated, and the Guard is saying they're going to increase the numbers, or the number of members on duty in response to the events that happened yesterday. Wright called his mother during the traffic stop. Moments before he was killed, Wright called his mother and said he had been pulled over. The 20-year-old was driving with his girlfriend Sunday afternoon when a police officer stopped him. He said they pulled him over because he had air fresheners hanging from the rearview mirror. During their phone call, Katie Wright heard some of the conversation between police and her son. She says, "I heard the police officer come to the window and say, 'Put the phone down and get out of the car.' Daunte said, 'Why?' And he said, 'We'll explain to you when you get out of the car.' So I heard the phone get either put on the dashboard and dropped, and I heard scuffling. And I heard the police officers say, 'Daunte, don't run.' And then the other officer said, 'Put the phone down,' and hung it up." It was not immediately clear to CNN how Katie Wright knew police hung up her son's phone. She also told KARE she called her son back about a minute later, and his girlfriend picked up the phone and said that he had been shot. She put the phone on the driver's side, and her son was laying there lifeless. Daunte Wright's older brother, Demeek Bryant, tells CNN he does not think Wright knew he had a warrant out for his arrest. Moments before the traffic stop, Wright was actually heading to Bryant's new home for a visit. Bryant said he had texted Wright asking him what was taking so long, and Wright said he had stopped by a car wash. Bryant said when Wright was pulled over, he sent a text saying, "I got pulled over," and asked about insurance information. Bryant said he told his brother to call their mother for that information, and he did. But by that time, officers had already entered Wright's name in the system. I wonder what the warrant was for. Was the warrant that he had so critical that you had to shoot and kill the man as a desperation to get him in? I mean, this, like I said, our country has some of the highest rates of incarceration in the world. Why are we letting our politicians do this to our people? It's up to us. We've got to stop this. Why are we letting these politicians get away with this? Anyway, guys, keep your eyes peeled on this whole unfolding situation up there. There's a big Somali population up there as well. Oh, they're claiming it was an accident by the policeman who shot. Here's one thing I want to say as I end this video. We want the footage now. Why are we waiting? Release the footage. Minnesota, Minneapolis, to this specific Brooklyn, Minneapolis suburb, Brooklyn Park, to the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, release the footage. We want to see the footage, the body cam and or any dash cam footage of the shooting of Dante Wright, period, point blank. Release the footage. Release all of the footage. Let's use this hashtag today, guys, when we're out and about doing our daily social media posts. Release the footage. All right, guys. Hold on. Let me see. Police give an update. Yeah, they say they're live giving an update now. Let me see. I'll actually share this out. Looks like they're holding a press briefing in regards to the officer-involved shooting. Let me see if y'all know how these connections get kind of crappy. I can just imagine the thousands of people trying to connect to this stream right now. Oh my gosh, Sopranos star dies. Wait, which Sopranos actor is this? Oh man, he played Tony Soprano's father. He died of cancer at the age of 64. Joseph Saravo. He was a really good actor too. His death was confirmed by actor Gary Pastore. Look, y'all, this stream don't even want to load. Let me see if I can find another instance of this stream. Try to get some information on this update from police before I let y'all go. Minnesota. Let's see. Okay, there we go.
Said it, but if I were to answer that question,
It's like we
I
have
would
no
be I'd be
audio, right?
contradicting what I said a moment
They're
ago,
saying there's
which is
warning
to say
graphic
that all
images and
employees
language, guys.
are
But it's like the
entitled
audio is not
to
working
due
here
process,
on the
and
CNN
after
page.
that due
So
process, discipline will be
let's go
determined.
here.
If I were to say
Grab
anything
that
else,
same stream.
I would actually.
Expectation for how a significantly white police force here in Brooklyn Center treats the Black and brown members of this community. What expectation have you communicated down to the chief and to the officers under him for how they are to interface with the vast majority, because the vast majority of this population is Black and brown? How have you communicated to them to interface and interact with people who look like me?
Absolutely, I've communicated that to the chief, and I do believe that the chief concurs with the notion that every resident of Brooklyn Center must be treated fairly, must be treated equitably. The city council has been very clear in its expectations about fairness and equity. We are implementing this year an Office of Anti-Racism Principles and Practices. We are hiring an equity officer in the next several several weeks. The city
So,
council has provided specific direction about
see if I can
accountability
find
for
it.
the police department and transparency for the police department.
Yeah,
We've been providing
they are
reports to
saying
the
that
city,
they feel he.
city council. Yes, we're
The
providing reports
police
to the city
officer is
council about
claiming that they accidentally shot
officer
Dante
discipline, about
Wright.
information on stops
That
of
pisses me
Black and
off
brown
even
people
more.
and people of
Dante
color in
Wright
the
was
city of Brooklyn
supposedly
City.
accidentally shot dead by an
We're developing
officer
some
who was
task
trying to
forces
taser him.
to assess if any of our policies or if
An
any of
accidental
our
discharge that
practices
resulted
lead
in
to
the death of
disproportionate
Mr.
and
Wright.
equitable
This
results.
by
And
Police
our
Chief Tim
objective in doing
Gannon.
that analysis is to
It was a
eliminate
woman
any
officer.
inequity that
So
occurs
this is
as
a woman
result of our
officer. We
practices
did have
and
an
our
indication
policies,
that it was a
and
woman
that has been
officer.
communicated
So
to
this
the
is
chief
starting to make
and to
sense.
the
Remember
police
last
officers in the
night
city of
when we were streaming and somebody came up in the stream and they talked about the woman that shot Dante Wright was threatening to kill herself. She was really upset about the whole situation and we didn't really know why and we weren't sure about the information. Well, apparently that it was a woman. And I can just imagine if she actually accidentally discharged her weapon that resulted in the death of 20-year-old Dante Wright, that she probably was emotionally upset. It was definitely a female officer who meant to pull out her taser weapon, but instead grabbed her handgun and shot Mr. Wright. And remember, this brought up the conversation of Oscar Grant. That's the reason why Oscar Grant was brought up. So this is horrible. This is so much worse, honestly, in a way. Let's listen to the live to the unbelievable.
We are standing in solidarity and calling for the firing of this officer. You have talked about her having due process, although Dante Wright did not get due process in that situation.
Unbelievable.
She needs to be fired immediately to send a message that this type of behavior will not be condoned within the city of Brooklyn.
So yeah, they're saying
I appreciate those comments.
that their officer accidentally discharged her weapon and killed Dante Wright. So the tone is definitely shifting.
It really wouldn't be appropriate for me to respond to that.
Why would it not be appropriate, sir?
Because I can't make that judgment.
So as a supervisor of the police force,
Is this man black? Did they send a black man out here to talk to us? Is that what they did?
I was not.
Mr. City Manager, Mr. Mayor, when I asked that question about the firing of the police officer, the police chief left. Yeah. What is that an indication of? Is he dealing with something perhaps more important, or is that some type of silent protest because he left immediately?
I can't speculate.
Mr. Mayor, you have a comment?
Wow.
I do not know why the excuse me.
Does that bother you without knowing why that he just walked out?
I do not know why the chief left. I can only speculate as to why he left. At the time that
this
he did.
is going to be crazy.
what would your speculation be?
I don't have any speculation. I mean, it's possible that the chief takes a position perhaps similar to the city manager that there needs to be some kind of a process or I don't know. I mean, I would only.
What was the conversation between you and the chief? What was that conversation?
Tweety, that's what I'm wondering too. How are they not knowing the difference between their gun and their taser? The weight
He didn't tell us anything
is
about
different. The feel is different.
Her name, where is she trained? These are questions the public deserves to know.
I can't believe
Certainly.
this.
Those conversations, I'm not, our privileged conversations, so I can't reveal that right now, but we should be able to provide the details around the officer and her trainings and those types of details.
Shout out to the sources that were coming in live last night.
Is the chief engaged
dropped
currently
this
at the
last
moment
night
in
about this
addressing
being a shooting
some
just
public
like
safety
this?
concerns or some other matter?
Shout
Is there
out
any
to y'all,
reason why,
man. I love y'all.
Why we can't have him answer some more questions around folks are asking about the officers' training and whatnot?
How long she's been on the force?
Okay, so we're
Bring the police chief back in other words, is what they're saying.
So
why did the chief leave? Is there any more of an important place for that police
we are
chief to be
checking
right now?
with the chief to see if he will come back and stand for more questions. And so.
Protocol for when there is protesters.
Hey, Centel, baby, how are you? I hope you're having a good week.
Also outside of the
Hey, Lady P, how are you?
police office, and what is the normal protocol? What is the process for who decides, and how does that decision happen? And then where those protocols and that process followed last night?
All right. So I will have the city manager and the chief speak on that.
I can't believe it either,
I'll
Lady
speak
P.
first.
It's
my role becomes active.
We did sort of hear this last night,
that I
though.
declare a state of emergency. And if
we were waiting for some confirmation on one, it being a female.
Give the mayor authority.
My understanding is the female officer has been really upset about the situation and was threatening
declaration of martial
to
law.
harm herself at one point.
So my role really is one of influence in those situations.
Let's listen in.
I cannot give commands.
Be quiet, y'all listen in on this.
To the department. I cannot instruct the police chief to take certain actions or not to take certain actions. The person who can do that is the city manager. And so in terms of what the protocols are and, for handling protests, I imagine the chief will be coming back to join us and speak on that shortly. But Mr. Bogany, if you have any comments on that.
And could you release the name of the officer who's involved in the shooting?
It's public data.
It's my understanding that name will be released very shortly, but it's my understanding that at this point the BCA, who's doing the investigation, is not. The
BCA is not required to conduct the investigation. You all specifically chose them, which means you have ultimate authority over what happens and what information is released. So just as the chief released that body camera footage, we're expecting the name of the officer to be released because that is public data. The BCA has no control over that whatsoever.
Well, let me say this, and I will let the chief address that particular question as well.
To protect her forever.
We have every intent to release.
We already knew she was a female last night.
And I just leave it at that. We don't have. There's no reason or desire to withhold that information any longer than it's absolutely necessary.
So can you instruct the chief to release her name?
I won't do that at this moment, at this place.
Why?
It would be inappropriate.
It's not inappropriate. What was inappropriate was killing Dante Wright under those circumstances. So you are working harder to protect a killer cop than a victim of police murder.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm back. I'm sorry. I left. I'm used to doing the handout with the BCA, and I apologize for that. Normally, the BCA steps in and they do a lot of the talk about the investigations. That's what I'm used to. So I apologize for that, but I'm back here now. I can answer some more questions, but please realize, in an officer-involved shooting, what happens is I have no contact with that investigation because I don't want to taint that investigation. People can say they scoff at that. I looked at this video, which is unprecedented. I don't know if any chief has done that very often or has looked at that video in advance of that. So sometimes you can't unwatch a video. So hold on. Let me finish, please. So what I'm saying is I have limited information. I'm not trying to be disingenuous, but I'm trying to stay away from the investigation. I wish the BCA was here, but again, they probably tell you the same thing, that there's not much they can do because it's an early investigation. Now, please, one question at a time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
May I ask you directly as I asked the mayor? Do you believe the officer who fired this fatal shot? And I understand there's due process. We get that. But ultimately, she shot and killed a 20-year-old man. The mayor has indicated she should be terminated. What's your position on that?
My position is that officer afforded due process just like anybody else does. She has the right to be heard. She has the right to give her statement. She has the right to tell what she felt, what she thought, not what I thought, not what I saw, but what she thought and that may have an impact. She's on administrative time out. She will not be returning to duty until this investigation has run its course. And she, for all intents and purposes, I think we can look at the video and ascertain whether or not she'll be returning. So one question at a time, please. It was over here?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
This is not the first time that this has happened in the city of Brooklyn Center. 2 years ago, we had another officer involved shooting where a young man lost his life. You understand that the public do not trust you and your department right now. And what we are asking for, you're not giving to us. You should already have a process by now on how to deal with this situation. And we really demand to know the information of the officer involved in the shooting.
Okay. The first question is we do have a process in place, and that's leaning on the BCA to do their investigation. Every shooting that I've seen, every shooting that I've witnessed has been different. Every circumstance is different around every shooting. It's tragic every time. The loss of life is obviously tragic, but there are different circumstances around every situation. In this particular situation, it was very important for me to get that video out as quickly as possible, and that's what I did.
Chief, absolutely unprecedented. I lived in Minnesota 7 years, worked here. Can you just tell us a little bit about how long the officer was on the force here in Brooklyn Center? Was she around when Barway was pulled from the body of water 6 years ago today?
The information on the officer is she's a very senior officer. That's the extent that I can do. A very senior officer. And like I do believe that the BCA will be releasing all the information, training records, everything that they have. They'll be releasing that. That's public data. That'll be coming out shortly.
And Chief, what is the normal protocol and process for response to protesters? And was that protocol and process followed last night?
There was strict adherence to the policy of working with a protest when it turns into a riot. Last night, there were numerous warnings to disperse because it was an unlawful assembly. It was declared at least 5 times while I was there. Plenty of time was given to disperse, and it was not.
Was it your decision to release tear gas and to shoot rubber bullets at the young protesters?
Sure. I'm the police chief in this city. Police action is made by me. The decision is made by me. Does that answer your question?
So I have a question. Upon myself and other organizers and activists coming up to the police station, we were really shocked to see utter darkness, to see all of the lights, both interior and exterior, extending all the way out, making the street virtually dark. We were really shocked and surprised to see that. From my experience, and I would imagine most other people's experiences, law enforcement would want to have as much light as possible to be able to see whatever is going on. I was told that the moment the lights all went down, that created a certain level of mood, a certain agitation within the crowd. What was your thinking? Because I was told that you made the ultimate call to turn all the lights off, even the street lights that was out in front of the building, to turn all of the lights off. What was your thinking about turning off the lights in the midst of people coming and
Sure.
attempting to redress
Sure.
At the police station? What was your decision behind turning off all the lights?
I don't know about the lights on the street, but I know the building lights were turned off because they created a backlighting for the officers that were on the front lines. They became targets for concrete blocks, frozen cans that I personally saw in duct. So that's what I turned those lights off. So that
turning off the lights made them less of targets? Or?
Yes, they weren't backlit. So then the people that were in front, they couldn't see it. So if we have lights in front of us, that's what the police department would like to have. We'd like to be looking out forward, not behind us, because then you get backlit.
So the lights that I'm talking about were all around. So the lights were all around the front part of the building. The police were well behind that, but it just created an entire darkness around. It seemed very unusual for a station to have all the lights off, including the lights all in the streets, to create utter darkness and a lot of confusion and a real ominous kind of mood. And I would say that it's very unusual. I've been to a lot of police stations. I've been to a lot of protests. I've been to a lot of these type of events. I have never seen the police department utterly shut down all of the lights. What was your thinking behind not the backlit lights, but all of the lights, even in the front part of the police station in general, to create utter darkness?
Sir,
and then also
sure.
one final question. What was your decision to issue a dispersal order while they were peacefully protesting in front of the police station? What led to you to issue a dispersal order, and then on the back end of that 10-minute dispersal order, then to issue out CO2 canisters and gas for the crowd?
So,
can you talk to us?
Yeah, just so everybody's clear, I was front and center at the protest, at the riot. We did not.
Don't do that. There was no riot.
There was. So we were being, the officers that were putting themselves in harm's way.
Okay, this
being
police
pelted
chief is
with
treading
frozen
on thin
cans
ice, isn't
up
he?
top. They were being pelted with concrete blocks. And yes, we had our helmets on and we had other protection gear, but an officer was injured, hit in the head with a brick. That was a Hennepin County deputy. He was transported to the hospital.
Yeah,
so we had to
but
make
we
decisions.
hear you, sir.
We
We hear you, but see, a man is dead by one of your officers. A man is dead. So this is what we don't like. We don't like to see a police chief, especially a white police chief, come up here. He walked away from the mic. There was no more important place for him to be. He's already showing a lack of integrity to me. Man.
Officers to be harmed. And I've already answered the question, I believe.
So how do we protect civilians so we're not harmed? So we're not accidentally shot.
Myself, so that is, I told you it's my
because
decision,
people don't know how to
and that's why I
handle
made
their
that
guns
decision.
or
Is there another
tasers.
question? Yes, ma'am.
I mean, the room's tense. I can feel it.
Yes, ma'am.
What is on your heart? Let him answer, guys.
Sure.
Like, speak to us for real. Like, keep it 100.
This is what I'm here for. Okay. I'm the leader of this department. They expect me to lead, create a safe city. That's what I'm trying to do. So
He can save the tears. He can save his tears.
And
seriously,
yes, I'm emotional. I'm just trying to be honest.
So when I have a question.
I bet you Dante Wright's mama is emotional right now too.
Back across the street. What was the reasoning for after they went across the street? You shot tear gas grenades and flashbangs where the people were across the street where you had originally told them to be.
Sure. The only time that we return in every situation that we had, we returned fire. So when we got pelted with bricks or frozen cans, which you've collected, we photographed the evidence. We have the evidence. We can show that to you in the future. But once we got pelted, then we responded in kind. And
Have a special announcement.
Yes!
Clusterfuck. Clusterfuck. What a clusterfuck.
And to make sure that we're also securing the safety of our community. Thank you.
That when peaceful protesters gather and they are met with violence, the things are going to escalate, and at that point, you can't blame them for causing rioters.
Yeah.
Understand that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So we have a community press conference downstairs, outside the building.
So if you all can reconfigure downstairs, we're about to do a community-based press conference as well. It's gonna be right in front of optically the building.
All right, so this press conference is coming to an end. This press conference is definitely coming to an end. Let's go back. I seen some of y'all saying you couldn't hear the audio. It is, let me unmute it. I just want to play this footage that's been released. The body cam footage showing Dante Wright.
No matter what you do, there's a Chevy that's perfect to take you anywhere.
Are you kidding me?
See why Chevy
So
is America's
inappropriate.
fastest growing full-line brand. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
That is so inappropriate to play ads in this video like this. Jeez.
Yes.
Honestly, just from the sounds of things, I don't think that woman should be working as a police officer. We'll continue to watch this story as events unfold, you guys. Stay positive. Keep your heads up.